Hello again, everybody. How are you doing? Dr. Rao here. Late afternoon, and it's kind of cold out here in Iowa. I was doing some writing work this morning, and a couple of ideas came and talked about them too. Um, Here now, um, I'm here to take any questions or any comments or any doubts about what we do, what we're talking about. Um, I would welcome people. Yeah, somebody's coming up. Mark. Okay. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Dr. Rao. How are you today?
I am great. How are you?
Very good.
Good.
So I want to, you know the term devil's advocate, right? Do you
Uh huh.
understand?
Yeah.
It's a very, very rich term if you think about it. So have
Yeah.
you thought about it as much as I have what devil's advocate means?
Yeah. I know. Tell me
Okay.
what you think about it.
So what I would say is your stuff is impeccable,
Yeah.
but I say that, and I'm not trying to stroke you. It's nothing to do with anything like that. I'm not trying to ingratiate myself. I'm not doing anything. I'm just telling you like I see it, and I think I can see things very clearly.
Yeah.
Your stuff is impeccable. So my question is, and it's a funny question, I'd like the other 7 people here listening to think about it.
Hmm.
Why aren't like 200 or 300 people listening to you? Because your stuff is so good.
Yeah. Well, I am more for not for speaking to the, you know, uh, choir, more like, so I just want to relate truth as I see it. And also, how many people are going to take it is up to them, right? So my job is to just to share. And then in that, I have a lot of, but when people grow slowly, and also, I don't go through the normal channels of new vibe because I'm not set in time, and they cannot really announce me because I come whenever I have the time. And the subject matter is also not everybody wants to know that deep either. They may not have energy, they may not have the time, they may not be ready for that, whatever the reason, right? So as you come and share, uh, it is like a wave. It may catch somebody, you know. So it's not about popularity. It's not about getting something out of it. It's not about doing it like a business, right? It's more like sharing, giving back, trying to help. That's all.
Well, the funny thing, the reason you may not know this, but I'll
Yeah.
tell you, it's very clear. I've told you in the past that I want to write this book, and I think if the book gets some resonance, right? So people like it, say, "Oh, we get what this guy's saying. It's good."
Yeah.
I'd like to have some traction because um, that's what it's all about, right? It's like resonance and
Yeah.
traction and getting people to adopt. But
Yeah.
I think I'm appropriately humble, and I listen to your guidance and advice and your
Yeah.
basis. And we share a lot of the same. I've studied a lot of the stuff that you
Sure.
have at the
Sure.
foundation,
Yeah.
so we're very similar. So I'm more receptive to it. So it's like preaching to the choir, just like you said.
Yeah.
But I want to make a difference, and I look at what you're doing, I'm like, I can't make a difference because this guy's already got it figured out and nobody's paying any attention to him.
No. People are paying attention, but not in the numbers we want because,
Right, right.
yeah, because it's see everybody in their own stage of the journey, you know.
Yes,
So it's like
yes,
this: we are all in the dark room, and there is a switch in the far corner of the room. Some people may be closer to the switch, some people may be later to the switch. So what we have to do, the compassionate thing to do is include them, and maybe they will catch it up. There's no force involved in this. This is like about individual inquisitiveness, individual capacity to inquire. That requires certain life experience. In ancient India, they believed in the reincarnation, right? So you have to go
Yes.
through several lifetimes to learn these things and all that. If
Yes.
we look at ourselves, where were we when we started? So you kind of treat it like that. It's not imperative they have to listen to our truth and say we're going to follow it. Then that becomes a propaganda. It's not really wisdom, right? But if you are living the truth and then that comes out, that's good enough. You see?
So another devil's advocate question for you, and this is sincere.
Yeah.
So I can't remember if I've heard or not, but do you have kids or
Oh
grandkids?
yeah, I have two kids, both grown up. One is a band teacher, is a trumpet player.
Sure.
The other my girl, she used to run a ice cream shop. She's taking a break now, but she makes her own ice cream recipes, like 180 recipes she has. She has a company for that, and she's an entrepreneur, right? Um,
So do you have any grandkids?
no, no, no. Both are unmarried. They're in the 20s now. You see?
I see. I see. So my devil's advocate question, and recognize it as a devil's advocate question.
Yeah,
You could spend your time,
yeah,
not just on your kids,
yeah.
but like your friends, your close
Oh
friends,
yeah,
and some of your patients, and something like that.
I do.
And you, but
I
but but my point is, you have such a small phone, right? Like right now, you have 11 people listening to this in total. So
yeah.
you could make a decision and say, I'd like to make a difference in the world, and I'd like to use New Vibe and all of these other social distribution channels, but I'm just not getting much traction. So I'm
Yeah.
just not going to spend any of that time broadcasting
No.
anything. I'm just going to spend it on my closest
No, what I
friends.
do is I broadcast on several channels. There
Sure,
is
sure.
now it's going Instagram, Noom Vibe, and also Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And I have thousands of followers there and all that. Only thing
Okay.
is, I cannot do live programs independently with everyone, right? So I,
Yes.
I kind of while I'm working, I have a lull. I may come on Doris' room, for example, and I want to participate because they are my friends. So I,
Yes.
I,
Yes.
I like to go there and contribute my 2 cents. Usually they appreciate it, and then they're very loyal friends and all that. So, but doesn't have to be either. I will go and speak my truth. See, in spirituality, I think one of the casualty is you won't have this regular ambition, like I have to reach so many people, I have to change all of them. That is not there. You see,
Right.
that's why you are a friend. You come and listen, and then you say, "Oh, Dr. Rao, I agree with you," or "I see the same point." That's enough. One
Yeah. I,
person,
I
one
do.
person is enough
I
for me.
I do agree with that, but it's funny because
Yeah,
I'm in
I
the
know.
process of I'm in the process of writing a book, and it's a personal development book. And
No, no,
most
book will reach much more because you are putting out there, and then it will go. See, the thing what you want to do you want to make a lot of people change with that? You want to contribute to the ever flowing ocean of truth that you do, and then just because you did that, I think you are a rich man. Okay, you
Yeah,
are.
yeah. Just to tell you real succinctly my thing. So
Yeah,
I'm 57,
yeah.
and when I was 28, my wife was pregnant, and I was thinking about, okay, I've got one job in life, and it's the most well, I have a one most important job, and you
Mhm.
understand this because you have a couple kids. And I thought about it. I'm like, my parents are pretty good, and I'm like, the most important thing we can do in our entire life is be a good parent,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I read a bunch of stuff, and I came across non-duality, and I came across those concepts, and I came across Eastern spiritual ideas beyond non-duality, and it kind of created this huge like weird enlightenment type thing. And
Yeah.
and what I felt was this immense joy
Mm.
and motivation to do the right things,
Yeah.
right? And I felt it. It wasn't so intellectual. It
Yeah.
started intellectual, but then it became a feeling, and it felt so powerful
Yeah.
because I was motivated to learn this so I could be a good parent.
Yeah.
And then I thought, boy, if other people felt, not necessarily thought, just felt the way I feel right now,
Mm.
they would be motivated to behave very compassionately and collaboratively. They'd see the world in a different way because of this feeling,
Yeah.
and it would be super motivating. So that happened when I was 28. I'm 57, and all I've wanted to do is how can I promote some amount of this extremely
Yeah.
overwhelming and big feeling in others? And
Yeah.
so I've done all this intellectual stuff, and non duality is probably the biggest single thing I've done. I
You
didn't
see,
really understand it, but now I do.
I will answer your children's question first. In
Sure.
my particular thing is when the kids were born, and then we were there for them for everything, because I happened to get my office space in the hospital itself. Beginning first 3 years
Yeah.
I was there in the hospital before I put my own clinic, because the patient volume grew so much we could not stay in that small office anymore, even though it came that cheap and they would give me everything, right, to stay there. And then I happened to have the daycare center next to the office, our hospital daycare center. And so, because we are in the hospital faculty and all that, they gave us priority and gave us everything. So it was very convenient for my wife to work in my office, me to be there, and the kids are there. And I took so many short vacations, small vacations with the kids and with my wife. And also we stayed in the small town deliberately so that we don't have to travel that much. After Chicago and New York, I felt I'm wasting a lot of time traveling. So I wanted to stay in a place where I can work. A hospital is 5 miles, and then everything is close by. So it was convenient for my wife also, who came just fresh from India. So 94, so we were okay with that. And then we were close to Chicago, 90 minutes. And I love Chicago. I lived there for 8 years. So we,
Yeah.
we used to go there. Actually, my spiritual kind of education evolution happened in Chicago. So that's why I have fond memories with that. And we were going all the time, like 1.5 day or like that to Chicago, and we stay, and then we enjoy our friends and all that. So it went very well, even though we had a very, very busy practice, right? But I always was involved with my kids on everything. Like my kid was showing signs of musicality, then I encouraged him to take the instrument. He took trumpet, and he excelled in that. And I was there for him every stage of his career development, his wins and his disappointments and all that. So I kind of made communication and also commitment to be internally close. This is called Antaragika Sanhityam in Sanskrit. That means you be internally close to your wife and your kids and your loved ones, my mom and even now. I call my sister, who she is now 82, but I've been calling her for the last 15 years, maybe more. Ever since this WhatsApp thing, everything came, I call every day. Before I used to call somewhat frequently, but now I call every day, and talk to her. And she knows exactly what's going on here. She listens to my talks. She has problems, so then she asks me, and then I kind of show her the ways, and she resolves them. So she treasures that very much, being in touch like that. And I also
Yeah.
enjoy that because I'm talking to my sister and all that. So what it is it's a question of intention of how much doing we want to do, how much really the being comes into that. Okay, about kids, I told them, I want you to grow up, but I want to be self reliant in every aspect of the way. We are there as parents, but we didn't want to stunt their growth and maturity by interfering with everything. Let them do things and then encourage them, and then provide, if you can provide some advice. For example, my kid was in the music, right? So the music teacher was not allowing him to express his tunes and he was full of this music that he wants to express, but he wants them confined to only the traditional scripts and kind of resentment, kind of stunting the artist in him. So I went and talked to the music teacher. A music teacher was transformed by the talk, and that he not only allowed my kid but other people also. He was much more open and communicative, and allowed the band to really elevate themselves. So that kind of commitment and involvement to really work. Even now, I'm very close with them, but I don't want to go and force them to change this way. What I can do is I can throw light on the path that they can see, and they have to walk that path.
I like that. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's the true teacher. Also, true teacher is not to say some things and allow the people to grow with their own thing, and also discover for themselves. These inner matters are like that, Mark. It's not like something is written and they take it off. No, they got to go into their own journey internally on their own.
Yeah, I heard something years ago, and it
Mm.
seems like impossible, but I do think there's some truth to it. And it's like all a teacher can do
Yeah,
is remind the student what they already know. It's a
exactly.
paradoxical thing, but it
Exactly.
has some sense to it.
Yeah, the truth is the one. We all know it, but it is covered by a lot of dust of our own thoughts and all that. Once
Right,
you take it off, then you, so it's kind of uncovering the truth. It is already there.
right, right.
That's why they said self-realization.
Yep,
Yeah. So, and I'm not eager about numbers and all that, but um, the people here who are running here, that is their thing to see what is a good talk to promote, what is a wisdom to promote, and all that. If they don't choose whatever they want to do because of their needs and all that, that's fine too. But do get a lot of affection in this app and also a lot of appreciation. But I don't look for them either. That's why I'm not burdened by them.
sure, sure.
Yeah. This is enough for me to talk to you intimately. We're talking rather deeply. We're not talking superficial things. That's good
Right.
enough. And that is going to be here. And whoever wants to listen to us down the line, they will come and listen and say they may catch something because they are looking for it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna switch gears just a little bit because I was gonna ask about this a while ago, and
Yeah.
that is I I had this kind of epiphany, spiritual awakening, like kind of like a test of my how I had existed up until the time I was 28, and then it was like a big challenge. Like what is the importance of money? Money is like nothing,
Yeah.
and in fact, the pursuit of money clouds you from what you should be pursuing.
Yeah.
So it was tough, but I actually didn't come across non-duality for I don't know, probably let me think, maybe 8 years after that. So in my mid to late 30s, I learned about non-duality, and so I got a book called The Book of One
Yeah.
by Dennis Waite. And
Yeah.
it's one of the major non duality books. It's got some criticisms that are legitimate. But anyway, a lot of the part of the book is the author spends a lot of time doing what I've noticed that you do.
Hmm.
And that is trying to like give the pure information. So giving the Sanskrit
Yeah.
words and what the Sanskrit words mean so
Yeah.
there's no misunderstanding or misinterpretation. And when I first read the book, like I don't know, this was like 15 years ago or something.
Mhm.
It was kind of hard because there's all the Sanskrit words, and I'm like, why do I care about what the Sanskrit words is? Why don't you just explain to me in English what you're trying to say here? I get it's an Eastern thing, but
Yeah.
why do I care about the Sanskrit words? And then I realized the author was trying to promote, you know, pure understanding, so there wasn't a misunderstanding,
Yeah.
kind of a westernization of an
Yeah.
Eastern idea, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. You're also right, Mark. For example, take yoga.
Yes,
Yoga that is spread in America is a watered down version of what is true yoga. Yeah,
right,
definitely, there is a physical yoga that is there. You can improve your physical health, but you don't want to stop there. It's like comparison. Suppose you have an airplane with wings and you can take off with the wings, but you chop off the wings and run a taxiing around the airport. What is good it is like that. The
Yes.
yoga
That's,
that
I love your metaphors too. I'm a metaphor guy.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love the
Uh,
way you
I picked
illustrate
it up somewhere, and then I thought that was a good reply of what. So what happened was, instead of giving you self-reliance from practicing really good yoga practices and all that, they are giving shortcuts whereby you won't get any inner resilience. You may get a body, but you won't get the mind, you won't get the wisdom and all that, you know. So
And what's funny, I should correct you, not no offense, but correct you in that it's like you won't get the mind.
mm,
The paradox, kind of in a Tao type thing,
yeah,
is you
yeah,
don't want the
yes.
mind. So mindfulness is ironic. It's paradoxical because you really want to get out of your mind by being
Yeah, that's
mindful.
why I'm
So,
against that term. I told so
and
many
I'm
times.
against that term too.
I'm against that mindfulness. I say awarenessfulness. That means empty of all thought and
Exact.
thoughtlessly.
That's awesome. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Awarefulness is better than mindfulness.
yeah. But then people are used to that, and then they are using more mind rather than less mind. The yoga is about emptying the mind. You know, hey
So
Mark,
I was
take a
I
look
do
at
want to.
my article. I put it a couple of days ago on information overload, how to handle it. That starts with awareness in the morning, attention to the day, and vacating the mind at the end of it. I think you will like that article.
Oh, 100%. So how do I find it most efficiently?
LinkedIn. Rao Kulsi is my tag, right? At the end of it. So go there.
Okay, LinkedIn. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll find it. Anyway, I was going to say something on this that I think people will like. Let me think about what I was just going to say about this mindful fit thing. Shoot, I kind of lost my track. Anyway, keep talking and I'll try to
yeah,
think of what I was going to say, but it was on this point.
yeah. But other thing that I want to tell you is about the Sanskrit is Sanskrit is a very beautiful language in the sense the rhyming, the notations, and all that. One word can convey four meanings. If you don't know properly where it is used for what, you can be misled by the interpretation of the person who is doing that. That's why expressing that word and really telling the true meaning in the context is very important if you want to convey the truth of the person who conceived it or who kind of discovered it.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, sorry. I remember what I was going to say now, and
Hmm.
that's my. I've written some stuff about this. I've thought about it a lot. You will appreciate it too because it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
This whole notion, like the past 20 years, especially the past 5 or 10 years, there's all this stuff on social media about hacks, right? The
Yeah.
notion is I don't. It's this whole thing of TLDR. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's very
Yeah.
common. Too
Yeah.
long, didn't read. It's the
Yeah.
same thing about yoga, right? It's like, hey, yoga, it gives you wings, but you can do yoga and get your wings chopped off. It's
Hmm.
the same thing. So hacks are fine and sometimes they work, but hacks are counterproductive
Yeah.
because they don't allow you to get the meat or the good stuff or
Yeah.
whatever. So it's like instead of pretending that we're so busy that we don't have time to study,
Yeah.
let's not talk about hacks.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the opposite of hacks, which
Exactly.
isn't necessarily, it doesn't take hours and
Yeah.
hours and all this theory to get
See,
it all done.
we allowed the culture to evolve into more of instant gratification.
Yes, yes, yes.
See, there is a Sanskrit system for this. It's called prayas versus shreyas. Prayas means instant gratification here and now. Okay, but shreyas is long-term gain, long-term good. Okay, so people don't want to invest a lot of time in the being stuff versus doing stuff because we are driving them all the time. We are asking them, demanding them, do this, do that, do this, and all. But we never ask them, calm down, do what is important, but then lie down and be yourself, go into yourself. That is all looks like oh stuff. But actually,
What's funny? I like it a lot, and I've thought a little bit different. You may not have thought of it. You may have thought of it. There's been
yeah,
another angle to this, and this is very important. I mean, I believe all change should come from within, from the individual. So all this stuff about societal changes, I'm going to change the structure. It's like I agree with Eckhart Tolle that
Mm.
what we need to do is change the interior of the individual,
Yeah,
and then that stuff will happen. It'll just take care of itself.
yeah.
But what I was going to say
That's what happened with Eckhart. Eckhart Tolle, that's what happened because he was asking, I want to kill myself. Then he
yeah,
asked suddenly, who is that want to kill
I
himself?
love
Are
it.
there two? I know. And then everything opened up because his whole thought-based structure collapsed with that question. And
Yeah, the
then,
whole thing of this Eastern philosophy stuff
yeah,
is like
yeah,
be the watcher of your thoughts, not
yeah.
your thoughts.
Exactly. That's what I teach in the morning routine. I tell them, stretch with me, breathe deeply, be here and now. And the fourth thing is watch your thoughts. and
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the end
yeah.
of it, I say, be that witness conscious that is watching your thoughts. Go all day like that.
So anyway, what I was going to get to, and this kind of came to me just in the past few years,
Okay.
and I think you probably know this, but maybe not. I don't know, or maybe you don't think it or whatever. So this whole thing about hacks and
Mm.
instant gratification and social media and all this polarization of the far left and far right,
Yeah.
progressives, conservatives, masculinity, femininity, feminism, masculinism, all this stuff. If you think about where we are in terms of democracy is a part of it, but mainly is capitalism, right?
Mm.
So people want to sell you stuff.
Yeah.
And the main way they want to sell you is to get your amygdala going and get your emotions going.
Yeah.
So you're excited. And so you feel like the solution to your thing, what you're questing for, can be met
Yeah.
by whatever they're selling, be it a service or a
And that
whatever.
too
And the
now.
advertising just preys on
Yeah,
this.
that too
So
now, here and now. Happen it now. I don't have to spend any energy. That
yeah, and what's funny is like capitalists, true capitalists, if they understood what you and I would talk about here,
yeah.
they'd be super frightened because people would stop buying as much crap,
Yeah.
wants versus needs. They
I
would
think
stop buying stuff.
people come to that realization on their own. But basically, what is happening is the inner stuff is very uh, joyful and happy and peaceful. Once you
Right,
discover that eternal thing, you don't want to sell it or you don't want to appear to be selling it. Uh,
right, right,
so basically, real true leaders they don't want anything really because they have
right.
gone beyond that and touch that inner diamond. I call it. Just to illustrate the value of it, and
Sure,
then
sure.
once you touch that you don't need anybody to appreciate or to follow you to do anything. You are reveling in your joy. See, this is why my motto is Atma Mokshardham Jagat Hitaicha. Two parts. Atma, that is soul or self, Mokshardham is realize that and go liberate from your own mind. So then you are landed up in that existence, consciousness, and bliss all together. Okay. So your existence, your consciousness, your bliss all together one, and you land up in that. Then you are using mind as a tool, not mind dictating to you what to do. Right. And then second part is Jagat means world. Hitaija means for the welfare of the world you work, not for your self promotion, not for your none of it. So you are satisfied with what you discovered. You stay in that blissful, peaceful, happy self, and then set out to help the world. Do whatever you do for the welfare of the world, not for your own upliftment. This is the ancient wisdom. And then what happens is you really transcend extreme suffering. And along with that, you really touch and gain that extreme joy and happiness within.
Yes, again, you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, though, is I do think you and I can work on the mission of helping people catch the inner diamond, but we have to recognize, and I'm not
Yeah.
paranoid or
But
anything
they
like
have
this.
to come, Mark. That's the thing. They
Yeah,
have to come.
100%. They have to come there on their own.
Yeah.
I get that. But my point is, what I was going to get to is there will be resistance
Yeah,
to people that are trying to sell products and services, or stuff that just glorifies their own ego and gives them clout by
yeah,
likes and followers and everything else.
yeah.
They don't like this whole thing because it shows the fallacy, the house of cards element of what they're
See,
doing.
I am so happy relishing my joy within. I don't care about all that.
Right, 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 right,
So, I mean, sharing itself and then relating is good enough. And I'm also now close to 70. I practiced for 45 years. My kids are grown up, and my wife and me, we kind of we are into artificial intelligence. We are learning. She's doing a certification on prompt engineering, just for the keeping us learning and all that. So, but then our main activity is this spiritual stuff, and the part
Nice.
of that is this coming and sharing.
Well, anyway, back to, you can help me on this and you can clarify or correct me. So part of my thing is I want to write this book, and it's basically personal development. And I don't really care about the broader societal stuff, because I do believe, just like Toli, that we need to help ourselves first. And then if
Uh-oh. What happened? Maybe you timed out, Mark? Let me see. Oh, Mabel. Oh, yeah, Mabel. Okay, Mark will come
Hello,
after
how
that.
are you?
How are you, Mabel?
Hi, I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
Wow, what a conversation with Mark. But anyway, this is my opinion. So
Yeah.
I just want to let you know that, you know what? For me, listening to you, and for me it's very powerful because I do use some of your um
Sure you do. Yeah.
because I believe I'm from Asia,
Yeah.
Asia, that we have something that we believe in ourselves that nobody can understand it, right, doctor?
Yeah, I mean, many people are getting used to that now because that is true. You feel it in the genes, but then
Yes,
you are raised
yes,
with that atmosphere and all that, Buddhism,
yes,
all that.
yes,
You can take things
right,
easy because everything is sunyam, they say. Everything is going to be
yes.
anityam.
That's
That
true.
means
That's
temporary.
You know what, doctor? I have one about me. This is me.
Yeah.
So I always choose. I don't want a I don't want a lot of friends.
Yes.
I choose friends.
Yeah.
I don't care if I only have friends.
I would
That's
I
it.
would say, Maival, instead of I choose, your wisdom is choosing.
Mm.
You are
So
putting
for
that
me,
first. That's why you are choosing like that.
yeah. So for me, this is me. I apply it for myself. Like some people, they ask like, how come you don't have a lot of friends? For me, it's okay.
You have a lot
I
of
have
friends here on this app. I can see that.
Yes, I
Mm.
said like, sometimes they ask me like, how come you don't have friends? How do you enjoy your life or so? And for me, I will say like, you know what?
Mm.
I am contented where
Yeah,
I am right now. I don't need a lot of friends. I choose
exactly.
friends that
Sure.
I can.
There is,
I
Maival, there is something I will tell you. You are already
uh,
connected with everybody.
uh,
You don't have to separate yourself to be friends only with certain group. You are
uh,
connected with everybody.
uh,
We are all you and me and everybody. We are all connected in our human nature, in our human consciousness. We are all one.
uh,
We are all one.
yeah, yeah. Because sometimes somebody talk about this and I'm listening and like, oh my God, she she or he's talking about what's in my head,
Yeah.
what's what I'm feeling right now. It's just like it's so powerful that the more you be aware, the more you be like open
Yeah.
of anything, you will be like easily to absorb it.
Yeah.
It's just like
You know
you don't need to you don't
that.
need to have a
Yeah.
it's just like you don't need about concentration about it. It's automatically gravitate you.
Exactly. You know what?
Yeah,
That's the truth is you have the truth inside you. So
Mm-hmm.
nobody need
Mm-hmm.
to teach that. You only resonate when you hear that.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Mm,
I love that. I love
yeah.
that. I remember this is the story that you know you know me, I do have a foundation in the Philippines, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I don't want to be acknowledged
Yeah.
because I want to do this because I want it. This is from my heart. I don't need to be like a superstar. Like,
Yeah.
hey, this is Mabel doing something like this. If
Yeah.
if you ask me like, do you need a picture? I was just like, it's okay. You don't need a picture. Just send it to me. Just send
Yeah.
it to me. I just want to see the kids smile. It's it for me. I'm fine. I don't need to be publicized. Like, hey, this is Mabel. Donate million something. But
Yeah.
that's not me. I just want to be like I supposed to hide and
Yeah.
nobody knows about me. It's just me.
Yeah. Can I tell you something here? Very important fact. I think you'll appreciate. Uh,
Yes.
Ancient India, they have this very beautifully crafted temples, right? In Asia as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
you go there, you in many temples that are pretty well crafted, you don't
Uh-huh.
know who built it. This,
Exactly.
because they don't want credit for themselves. See,
Oh wow.
what it
Yeah.
was because ego was considered as an enemy to discover yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Whereas Western culture evolved on ego and also the results. You have to have
Yes.
profit. See, these two
Yeah.
don't, you don't have it. That's why you are happy by yourself. And
Yes.
also, you don't look for profit. You want to give, right? You want to give
Yes.
from your heart. That is what you are doing all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That it is. It's just like beautiful. It's just like when I see you when you say something and then I'm listening like, oh my God, it's just like so beautiful that I can understand it
Yeah.
because I use it. I apply it to myself. It's just
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's because of how what kind of practice I have,
Yeah.
how it's a culture.
Yeah.
I grew up. I remember I grew up with my grandma, and my grandma is a devoted Catholic.
Mm.
So for me, watching her every day go to the church morning,
Yeah.
and then during Sunday, so I don't have class, so I will go with her.
Yeah.
So it's just like for me, it's just like I starting
Yeah.
following that which is good,
Yeah.
which is good. It's in my opinion. This is
Yeah.
my opinion that it helped me until now.
Yeah.
I'm using it until now, and it's helping me a lot.
Yeah.
And in this world, it's super super busy, crowded, and everything. If you don't have a very very strong, solid foundation, guess
Yeah.
what happened to you?
Yeah. You
You
see,
are distracted.
there are two Sanskrit terms I will tell you. What is called
Uh-huh,
iha para. Iha means this
uh-huh,
worldliness, here
mhm,
everything is materialistic culture and all that.
mhm, mhm.
Most of the
Yes,
people they only believe what they hear, what they listen with their senses.
exactly.
But the ancient cultures, including ancient cultures here in
Mhm,
West, but maybe more
uh-huh,
on the East, they
uh-huh,
consider what's called para. That means
uh-huh,
that which is there is not immediately visible. You may call it God in Catholic, whatever, but then
uh-huh.
something other than this, you are believing and you are worshiping it. You
Yes,
know, that becomes really strong for human beings because
yeah,
they establish themselves. The thing is, that kind of force is also in
uh-huh,
us as the divine self.
yes,
So once you are
yeah.
established in that divine self, you are established in the God that you are believing, and that is a
That's it.
very powerful thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Mm.
That's true, Dr. Ra.
Yeah,
Yeah, for me personally, I do love so many things. Like actually, you mentioned about the temple. I have
yeah,
one here. It's so beautiful.
yeah,
Um, temple here in California, and
yeah.
I do visit two times in there, and
Mm.
then wow, even I go in there, it's just like it's so different. My
Yeah,
son loved it. I was
yeah,
like, Nicola, you have to be careful because you have to take off your shoes and stuff. Like he loves it. He just like touching the, the, it's like, what they call it? It's it's a handmade.
Yeah.
Um, it's a, what they call it? Somebody use, like, it's a handmade that it's, they put it in the wall,
Mm.
and it is beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah. You know what? The temples and other places where most of the
Mhm,
people go with this sense of something other than just a materialistic world, So their thoughts and others will be closer to union, closer to divinity, closer to something God and all that. That's why
mhm.
some people may pray just because they want some material things, but majority of the majority, yeah, but the majority of them have this, at least for a few minutes, they are
Uh-huh.
focusing on something not sensorily perceivable, but they can feel
Yes,
it. They can feel it with the intuition. Then what happens
yes,
is the whole place will have those vibrations. That's why you feel so good
yes.
when you go there.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. I just love it. I have. I think I went to, when I was in Brunei. I went to mosque. It's
Mm.
a beautiful mosque. It's pure of gold, so
Yeah,
it's different vibe. It's so beautiful.
yeah,
And then, to be able to go there, you have to have a respect.
yeah,
You have to. Each country is a different.
yeah,
To be able to visit this different kinds of country, you will learn their culture,
yeah,
the people, the food,
yeah.
everything in there. It's just for me, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Life is beautiful.
I think you have a soul that is mature. That's why you are responding like that.
I think, remember I told you, doctor, that I was born in a different, probably the different era.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's how the ancients in the East believed reincarnation. See, what it is they say you have a journey to finally realize yourself, but to that, some lives maybe you are not oriented, you are spending like that, but you accumulate this knowledge to the next life, and when you mature, you have the mature soul that is easy to recognize.
All right. I have one last thing that I want to tell you before I go.
Mm.
So this is the thing that I observe right now,
Mm.
that every time I talk, like for example, I talk to my coworker.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? When I start talking, they will start listening. Like, hey Mabel, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I want to learn. I want to learn something. It's just like that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. I love you coming up and talking, Mabel. We resonate.
Yes.
So,
Okay. Okay, Dr.
okay.
Rao, I have to pick up my beautiful son. Thank you so
Okay.
much for the time.
Bye bye, Mabel. Be well.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Okay. So, I'm glad I was able to talk to two friends at least, and both are meaningful to me. And yeah, they brought in a lot of stuff, right? Uh, about Mark, see, the two things, the worldliness versus spirituality, the choice is always there with us. We can choose whatever we want or we can mix it, is up to you. But the more you look into it, the more spiritual dimension is filled with peace and happiness and joy, and really takes you beyond the suffering that we go through if we are in the worldliness only. So whatever you do, just do out of your heart. I think you are safe. But if you calculate the mind, how many people are coming, how many people are appreciating, and all that, then you'll end up in trouble. Right? This is much better just to share and all that. Sometimes you may feel like nobody is listening, but then you don't let it last too long. But it's up to the management to see whose stocks are promoted, whose stocks are given value. It's up to them, right? So that's what I feel. And even if Mark wants to write a book, that's a great intention. That intention is enough for him. And then he's going to put in what is useful for many. And that act of doing it itself is the reward. Okay. thank you, Mark, and thank you, Mabel, and thank you, everybody. And anybody else has any comments, anything you want to talk to about, and come back, and I'll be able to address that before I leave. Okay. All right. I will be seeing you all later, and uh, this afternoon I found some time. Okay, somebody is coming. Okay, Mark is coming again. Okay. Yeah, he was cut short, and then I had to invite Mabel because she was waiting for so long. Okay, okay, Mark, welcome back.
So anyway, I just to clear or not to clarify, but just cut off or
Yeah,
stop.
yeah, yeah.
I do have this small point, and I need to remember that just like Tolle, ignore the big stuff, the societal stuff, the systemic stuff, the results of bad personal stuff that aggregate there.
Yeah.
But and we can recognize that to achieve to overcome even like information overload, which is part of what I was talking about. The reason why it's hard to focus is because there's all this stuff coming at you, and essentially, that's the way to say it, but the true way to say it, they're trying to sell you stuff.
Yeah, I will give
So,
you. I'll give you the Eckhart Tolle example to really understand this. Um, Eckhart Tolle is, after he really took to air and all that, and then he was interviewed by Oprah. He began to go to talks where few thousand people are coming, right? So every time he goes there, he gets to be booked in a hotel, and from hotel he rides the car to the venue, and in the venue they do keep him in the back before they introduce them, and then it takes some 5-10 minutes, so he has to spend him by himself there, and then he will come out on the stage and to sit down and talk, right? Now he described how his interior was during the hotel room stay, car ride, and other waiting on the side room and all. He stays in the present at each moment. He doesn't allow his mind to go and vagabond and think about stuff, right? He is not going to know what he's going to speak, and he sometimes they may give subject, sometimes they don't, but he won't think about it. So basically, he is in the silent, joyful self. And then when he comes to the floor and the talks, he looks around everybody silently, and then he begins to talk, and then it comes out of him, you know. So that is really true spirituality coming out of him as relating to people, as expressing himself and all. None of this chatter.
So
Yeah.
on that point, a little bit different, but basically similar thing. I read both of his books, The Power of Now and A New Earth, and I didn't just read them. I studied them kind of like I studied the Book of One on non-duality. So I wanted to understand it in a lot of depth. So I studied it. I think I read A New Earth twice. Anyway.
No. Let me tell you something about Eckhart Tolle's book saying. He talks about, this is direct to quote from him, says, regaining the memory of being.
Yeah.
Regaining the memory of being. Okay. And embodying in that being is self-realization.
Right.
You know,
and it's funny. Self-realization is like the paradox and the bad.
Yeah, but once you are in that, once you realize,
like recognizing there is no self-realization.
No. The terms may be different. In East they call it Atma Sakshat.
Yes.
But that's different. But what it is it is not your thought construct ego that goes away. That is the one which chatters all these things. So if as long as you are in that egoic thought built construct, you will have this chatter. But if you are transcended that, you will be like Eckhart Tolle, silent, aware, awake. You are not sleeping, but you are not daydreaming, you are not reminiscing. You are in that energy of joy and in the presence. See, what he said was he was in the on the bench for 2 years, right? When he was
Yes,
trained,
yes, yes.
he never felt that sense of presence left him. His surroundings may have changed, but that was there. He self-realized in that sense. So he was regaining the memory of being and embodying in the feeling realization of that feeling, intuitive feeling realization of that being. That is self-realization. That means your ego is gone. But it may be a slave, it may come up once in a while, but it's not like the dominant master that was.
So what I was gonna say, and I haven't talked to, I think I've talked to like one or two people about this, but I haven't talked about it in years.
Yeah.
And so I got exposed to Tole, and then I did a decent amount of research, and I listened to him for hours and stuff, like recordings of what he was speaking and stuff. And my first observation is like, why is he speaking so oddly? He's got just this really odd manner. But then I realized that what he's doing is something that I'm terrible at. And frankly, Dr. Rao, you're not great at it, but you're better than me. And that is, he's trying to purify his speaking. So there's like three levels of depth that can come. One is like pure impulse, like your brain stem, and people call it the lizard brain. And then there's another level of emotion. People call it the monkey brain or the ape brain, animal brain, mammal brain. And then the third level is what, like modern philosophy and the society is based on. And that's thinking that
Mark,
humans and we just exist
let me give you the
cognitive level.
let me give the neuroscience version of what you are, the three brains. Okay.
Well, I've studied the neuroscience for
No,
hours, so
brainstem,
yes,
limbic system, and prefrontal
exactly.
cortex. Yeah, just
Yes,
for
yes,
the
yes,
audience.
exactly.
Just for the
No,
audience.
that's going to
Yeah.
be, this is all going to be a big part of my book. Anyway,
Yeah.
the point is, and my book will be science and spirituality. And unfortunately, it's got to be like 75% science, because that's not well understood. But like people like Tolle and non-duality practitioners and gurus and philosophy guys, they've got the other stuff, the spirituality stuff figured out. So what I want to do is say, hey, this is the neuroscience stuff, this is the science stuff. And actually, all it does is point back to the solution of what these guys figured out thousands of years ago. So here's modern science and what we know about neuroscience and all this other stuff. And then here's the spirituality response, which we figured out a long time ago, but not exactly the
No,
science.
neuroscientific part of it is already written and already there. Only thing is not accessible, and also it's kind of complicated for people to understand because they are looking at an objective thing, but most of this science is subjective study. So that's why the difficulty to understand it. The phenomena after the subjective sensation happening, neurohormones or effects, and all they can be documented with functional fMRI, all that we can do right now. So what it is we say something like a loving energy, but we can show the evidence of the energy operating in the brain with the scans.
Yes. Anyway, back to Tolle. Well, you'll appreciate this. What I realized, I'm hypothesizing, but I think I'm right. What he's doing is he's trying to be in that place where there's no limbic influence. Yeah. There's no emotional influence.
No, he's not. He's not trying. He is there.
He's there, right? Exactly. And there's no pure like disassociated, mental pure cognition, brilliant scientist thing either. He's trying to.
No, you don't lose the cognition. You don't lose the. Eckhart Tolle was very funny when he wants to be, and also he came on the Google one time. He talked about data and how it can be harmful to them and all. He was very clever and very cognitive man, but then he established himself in that being. That's where it comes from. That's what you are trying to catch, and then you won't catch it until you discard this egoic brain. But once you catch it, nobody need to approve you. You know that you are happy.
So I think of like Tolle. I think of Jiddu Krishnamurti.
Yeah, Jiddu Krishnamurti.
I think of. Like,
have you seen this video series on J. Krishnamurti and Alan Anderson? That was produced in.
But I'll seek it totally.
Yeah,
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 because I
yeah,
think Jiddu is one of the most admirable guys that's
yeah.
ever
I
lived.
mean, this series, Mark, I think you will enjoy. It is about 18 hours, but each hour is
Okay.
divided. It starts with maybe relationship, and it ends up with meditations. Very profound discussions. Alan Anderson is a professor of ethics and religions and all. He's a wonderful teacher also. And they go through as Christmas is talking, Alan Anderson go through the transformation, even though he was very much a scholar in so many things, that comes through. But it requires people highest interest to pay attention because they're pretty deep, pretty long. It is called, you can just to go and say, uh, Jittu Krishnamurti and Alan Anderson.
And is it on YouTube?
YouTube, yeah, 18 hours. Okay.
So when was it made?
1972.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, I have seen. I've spent, I don't know, a couple hundred hours on Krishnamurti. For a while, I'm thinking no one had figured out as much as he had. But he's a little too intellectual at the end of the day. He's like Ken Wilber to a degree. He's too intellectual. And sometimes
That is your judgment again, but it is actually
yes, yes.
you go and see it, and then you will change your mind. Probably.
Okay, I will seek it out. I'm glad I called in today because
Yeah.
that in and of itself is intriguing to spend the 18
Yeah,
hours.
you will love it, and it is say, I have to go through this two more times before I get it.
Right,
It's that deep, but pretty good, and you will love it. That's why I'm recommending to you. You know.
So you may know the answer to this a lot better than I do. So I
Yeah.
studied him a lot, and then I was kind of disheartened at the end because I learned, he spent a lot of time and he was super well respected, and he created
Yeah.
the school, and basically the school kind of failed because the kids didn't turn out as like gurus or like really balanced. They had problems or they weren't that well balanced.
He made a
And that's
comment.
that.
He made a comment at the end of 60 or 70 years of traveling around the world and teaching all this. He
Yeah.
said, I did not see even one person change with this.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, you know what? They ask, like you are asking me, you don't get many people, why do you do that? You know what he said? Somebody may
No.
catch it, and that's it. Even one person
Okay.
catches it. But you know
Maybe
what?
you and I are those couple of people that caught it.
No, 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 no. There are so many people who were uh, really understood what he was talking about, and then they did not measure all the way up, but whatever they did really enacted profound changes in some institutions and some of the Congress also. So that was there. There are examples for that. See, he was never for the propaganda. he never
Right.
he never wanted to make money or anything out of it. People donated, and he wanted to use properly for that. He did. And what it is I think one thing you want to know, like somebody who is reading him for a lot. So many people were there at the time. They were 20, 30 years they were following him, and he said, do you want to know my secret? And everybody was, okay, we couldn't understand him this many years, let's get the secret right away, this instant gratification.
I know the secret. I know this part. Yeah.
And he said, whatever happens, I don't mind.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, but then
Okay,
most of the talk you said, you are only in the mind, so examine that, then you'll
yeah,
know
well,
that.
actually, what I was going to say, and this is a real question, I've struggled with it for
Yeah.
decades,
Yeah.
and that is, I've studied all this stuff. I want to do a good job, but I am in my head. And so once I understand stuff like Krishnamurti, etc., I feel a peace and like
Yeah.
a intellectual piece kind of thing, like, oh, now I get it. This is
Yeah.
the way to be. And I try to be kind to people, which is ultimately the only thing that we
Yeah.
can do, right?
But the thing is about that, don't do any stuff. Just
Go
be.
ahead.
Just be.
No, I know. I have to understand this. Anyway, what I was gonna, I told myself, because I've written that down to myself 100 times over 15
No, no.
years.
Then you are being in the mind.
Yes, yes, yes.
Don't be in
Anyway,
the mind. Just be yourself.
So what's funny is I'm getting back to
You
you.
know, I want to tell you something, Mark, before I forget.
Go ahead.
See, when I began to really explore Krishnamurti, in the morning I used to get up. I used to read couple of incidents in the there's commentaries on living, third volume. He
Yep.
was interviewed by so many people, and then he was talking to their problems and all that. So I used to take one or two and then read that. But you know what? That intellectual quietness that I had is so quiet, so nice. It lasted all through my clinic, all the way into the evening. It just happened. I'm just telling you because I used to read that in the morning. I'm so silent, and I carried my duties as a physician, saw my patients, determined all that. But I noticed that silence never left, and now it's a regular feature. I'm always silent. I'm talking to you, but still I'm silent.
Yeah, you're admirable.
Mm.
Anyway, what I was going to get to is understood this, but I haven't been able to do it. So let's talk about three dimensions, right?
Mm.
One dimension is awareness, right? We get this thing, and you're not very aware. Either you're in your mind or you're in your body or whatever. You're not very aware. So there's one dimension. Call that like from a graphical thing, and I don't know how much math.
That is a thoughtless state.
Yeah. So my point is, well, I'm going to call that the Y dimension, which is usually the effect of the other dimension. So let's start with this real quick. So Y is awareness, and it goes from you don't have any awareness to you're fully aware.
Yeah.
And it goes kind of like non-duality, where you're dualistic and you're in chaos.
You know what Kay said?
Judging.
If you are not aware, be aware of the not awareness.
That's great. That's great. Anyway, let me get through this. So anyway, there's
Yeah.
Y. X is simple practice, right? And that is
No.
you can conceptually understand stuff. Like you can read about Krishnamurti and say, I think I get it.
No.
But if you don't practice on a day-to-day
No,
basis,
no, it's
you
not
get a
the
lot of-
practice. That is the fundamental mistake everybody make. Don't
Yeah.
practice.
That's my big mistake is
Yeah.
the practice side.
Don't, no, it's not a practice of technique. It's a be. That's it. Stay there. Rakatoli stays there. And that's why he comes from that awareness.
Okay, let me finish my thing here. Just it's very simple.
Hmm.
So there's awareness dimension. Think on like a graph. It's got to be a three-dimensional.
It's not measurable, Mark. It's not.
No. I'm not talking about measurement. Just bear with me for a
Yeah,
minute.
sure. Go ahead.
So you have awareness where you're not aware, or
Yeah.
the great thing where you're very aware. So that's the Y dimension. The
Yeah.
X dimension is this experience. Don't necessarily say practice, but like how many times you've actually successfully learned about and done whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So this thing is like yoga, like
I
full
think
yoga.
you must recall this episode. They were standing beside the sea as Swami. He was declaring that he has arrived. He learned what is self-realization. He is in self-realization and all that. Then
Yeah.
Krishnamurti looked at him and said, "Do you look at the sea, sir?" Yes. And can you take that sea water into your hand? Yeah. Now, is that sea anymore, or is it become just water in your hand? So, like that, what he is proposing, like he has realized, he has achieved, and all that, is like a sea, and you took some water out of it, and then you are claiming that you are arrived. See?
I like it. Anyway, so just be with me for a second here. So you got
Yeah.
the Y dimension, which is awareness from no awareness to full awareness. And then you got the X dimension, which is practice. Like you've learned something, and so you have practice. And think of like an athlete that
No.
has
Now let me express myself clearly.
Go ahead.
What it is not against attack or anything, just truth,
Sure.
What you are trying is to uh, measure something unmeasurable. Something.
Yes.
Other thing is you want to gain something, but you already have it.
Yes.
See, like this, Ramana Maharshi said, it's like you are at home, but you're asking Ramana Maharshi's ashram's address, so you want to go out and go around the street and come back to the address. It's like Rumi said, I knocked the door, then I realized I'm already in the house.
Yes. Well, anyway, so I do get that, and I
Yeah.
do understand what you're saying. Let me finish this little. It's a left brain thing versus a right
It is
brain
a
thing.
left brain thing. That's what you are doing, right? What
That's
you
right.
are,
That's right. But it
yeah.
doesn't. You can't get to full goodness of right brain if you don't do a little left brain stuff. I totally
You have
believe
to
that.
transcend that. Yeah, that's true.
Yes, exactly. But
Mm.
it's hard to transcend unless you do a decent job of the
No,
left
no.
thing.
You
I
want to transcend with the left. The left. Don't do that. You are transcend with the whole.
Yeah, no. I agree with you. Anyway, let me do my little model here. So
Okay.
one is awareness. That's why X is practice, and then Z. So there's three dimensions. Z is actual knowledge. So let's talk about yoga for a second. You could say, okay, I'm going to do yoga. Well, before I do yoga, I got to figure out my mat and how thick of a mat do I want. If it's too thick, it's too heavy, and I don't want to carry it around.
Again, the
If
same
it's too
problem.
thin,
No, again, the same problem. What is
go
yoga?
ahead. Go ahead.
Body is union. Union of what? Not just your body, mind, and the spirit, but it
Yeah.
is about your individual consciousness, which is mistaking as individual, realizes
Yes.
this is this the ultimate consciousness, the universal consciousness. So that's what it
Yes.
is. What you are trying to do is with your mind, you want to transcend the mind. No, you will understand the mind when you really look at like an object. And there is a state called mindless mind. There is no mind. That's what it is. But what it is you already are the self, but you want to try to realize it by doing something. Don't have to. All you have to turn it around and then keep your cognitive left brain quiet. Then you realize I'm already in this.
I I hear what you're saying. I don't know if you hear what I'm saying. What
I'm
I'm
hearing.
saying
I'm
is,
hearing very
no,
well. I'm hearing very well. I
no.
can see it
My
also.
thought is there is a continuum from lack of awareness
See,
to fully
see, you
awareness.
are
Okay,
asserting with
independent of
your
anything else, there
no,
is
no,
that continuum.
Mark, you are asserting yourself with your left brain. That is the thing.
Yes, of course, of course.
That's very intelligent, very nice, but it can never reveal the layers of coverages that you have with your left brain thinking on your real self. You are already that. You are there.
Well, actually, okay, I'm graduating now, and what I'm saying is,
Yeah, that's
I
fine. That's fine. You
I
take your
can't
time. No problem. You take
I
your time. But
I
read those
can't
18 hours and then not, and then you say that, oh,
I
yeah, it dawns on me. It's
I
already
can't
there.
I can't graduate until I let go of
Yeah,
this left brain stuff,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
have to spend some time in the left brain
Yeah,
stuff
that is
before
the
I can
work.
let it go.
That is the work you need practice. I agree that. But what I'm saying is you are already left and right together, whole being. You're already
Yes,
that. And then you
yes,
realize that, then you see, why did I struggle all that?
yes,
And then you will end up in that joyful thing and you transcend not only the ego, but also the suffering, and you gain that extreme bliss and joy and peace.
yes.
It's not that
Okay,
left brain is bad,
I'll
is it?
simplify my thinking, and you'll understand this.
No, no, I understand.
What
I
I'm
don't.
trying to do is
I understand that you are
square the
very
circle.
cognitively oriented, intellectually oriented. That's all good for our science outward subjects. But when it comes to inner sciences, be yourself. Be not
Yeah,
that left
yeah,
brain or anything.
yeah.
Be your inner real self.
Okay, just talk to me about the whole notion of squaring the circle or
Yeah.
circling the square.
Yeah, it's all zero. That is Purnam. Purnam is your self is whole, and that is a rounded thing. It is not interruptions of anything. And that Purnam involves your left brain, your right brain, your concepts, your understandings, everything. But the pure energy is before all this. So take your
Yes.
journey back. That's what they said. You see, for example, when you're you are born with a pure, full heart, spiritual
Yeah,
heart. Out of
yeah,
that, you go mind get up so that we can make our way through the life. Okay, but then bringing back the mind and fixating in our spiritual heart is the spiritual practice. So you have to return back, turn back, and go towards your home. That is spirituality.
I just had a thought, and you can comment on this. It's like all I want to do is be kind to people. That's all I want to do. I don't
Just,
give a crap about anything else.
just do
But
that.
I
Just
need to, because I am who I am,
yeah.
I need to do some left brain shit before I can be as kind as I can possibly be.
That's why it is elusive to so many people who are pretty bright, pretty clever in their scientific achievements, but then reached the point at the end of Einstein was very spiritual at the end of his life.
Yeah, I get it. I've studied that a lot. In
Yeah.
fact, I've got a bunch of my favorite quote, and it'll be this way until I die.
No,
Is Einstein's
no,
quote.
no,
Einstein's quote about the delusion.
Mark, you don't realize how far you have come. You are just knocking the door. Next part you realize is you are already inside. Otherwise, you cannot talk like this at all.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, you are inside, but you are knocking as though you are outside.
Yeah. The sad thing is, like I said, I'm 57, and
Doesn't matter. I'm 60. I'm 70 now.
28, I haven't got there.
I'm 70 now. Don't worry. So I'm ahead of you.
Well, you're a lot farther ahead of me. That's my point. And I'm not saying that I'm not complimenting you for
No, it's not that. It's not. We're all in the same room, but it's a little distance.
I love that.
Yes, little distance from the switch which we can turn on. That's all.
Yes. That's great.
Yeah. So in that way,
I feel like
there is something Sanskrit I will tell you here. Both may ekta. In that being, you and me and everybody else, we are all in that oneness. That is the divinity. Right. We are all in that. And then that divinity is there in individual person also. But we think that is separate from everything. No, it is all together.
Yes. So I was going to totally switching gears 100%, but Jiddu said this, and I love it. I've thought about it 1,000 times because I've been married twice. My wife and I have been married now. We've been together for like 15 years. Anyway, he said, something to the effect, this probably. He said, the hardest thing to be is a guru in front of your wife. Or like you can't be a guru to your wife because she knows you.
So true.
He's this gifted guy, but his wife could poke out his.
The same thing happened with Nisargadatta, and also the other old man is there. He was really teaching this neo-Advaita, neo-duality to people.
Right.
And people are coming here like a Muji and other people. They are trying to help other people through their understanding. Sure. But his wife also said, Ramana Maharshi was able to make me silent just in his presence, but this man I cannot do. His own wife. Yeah. Why?
Spend a week with your family.
Shall I tell you my understanding of that, why it is so?
Sure.
Because if you are united in spiritual pursuit, then it will be like a same voyage, right? But if a wife is married to you because maybe you will be in the role of husband, or you will be loads of breadwinner, or you may be helping some things, or you may be allowing her to go her own pathway and all of that. So for her, you are more like a role rather than spiritual being on the quest for spirituality. But if you both are like that, then there won't be any conflict. Otherwise, goals are different, and people are doing things differently. That's why they want to see you in their image, but you want to break that image and go away from it.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, you and I both know ultimately you just want to be kind, and it to the extent that you're not kind with your spouse, it's like my spouse is like, oh great, do all your
I
spiritual
don't,
pursuit
I
stuff, but
don't,
all I care about is you being nice to me.
yeah, I don't want to, derail your kindness thing. What it is there was this sage, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, right? And he had run this seva programs. That means service to humanity. All the poorest of people are fed and then clothed and things like that. They always do that.
Sure, sure.
So one particular gentleman, he was doing a lot of work and he was really sincere about it. And when then he came and said, I did so much compassion to these people, so much is there. Then Ramakrishna kind of chided him. They said, look, you were given a chance to serve the divinity in that man. So you should be thankful to that man that you have this chance to service the divinity. Why? Who are you to show kindness and compassion to them? You are given a chance to service them. Be grateful about
I'm going to time out here, and that's fine. We've talked a lot. Anyway,
Yeah.
reiterate that point for me. I'm going to sign off in 15 seconds, but I want to hear that point again because I didn't quite get it. So just tell me again what you were saying there.
Yeah, sure, sure. I'll continue as you sign off. But read those 18, then I will talk.
I will.
We'll talk then. Okay. Yeah, there is this seva programs go on in the ashram, and worldwide also they have facilities where they don't expect anything. They have donations coming from all over the world. They use to do this service programs where they feed hungry, heal the sick, and really run educational programs for people and all sorts of things without expecting anything. Everything is free. Even now they do that. So this particular gentleman who was working as a volunteer, and he went there and then served a lot of people and really be kind and helpful and kind, compassionate and loving and all that. And then he comes with this big pride. See, I was so compassionate to these people. Then the teacher tells him, you are looking at the wrong way. This is a chance for you to serve the divinity in each person. So, Manava Seva, Madhava Seva. That means when you work for the people, you are really working for the Lord. And the Lord's spirit of force, the life force that is in there, is a representative of that. So, like a sun reflecting on thousand glasses, this is also reflected in them. And you are, in essence, you are really serving that spirit in there. And in that way, you are really worshiping the divinity in it. And because that man needed something, and through that need, you have an occasion, you have a chance to serve the Lord. That's why you should be thankful to him. Don't claim that I am the one who is showing compassion. Who are you to show the compassion to him? That's what I gave the explanation, Mark. Thank you. And this is a wonderful discussion. I love Mark and Mabel and uh, uh, all the people who have come in. Both of them really had extensive discussion. That's good. Thank you all. I feel I'm served here. I'm very very happy with all the discussion. Thank you. I'll see you there. Back. Bye bye.